Hi, I'm Laura, and this is Trope Train Trilogy, and today I will be doing the book calendar tag. This tag was originally created by the BookTube girl. Now, her original video for this tag is no longer publicly available. However, I will link her channel down below because it seems to still be active. It's been almost a year since I've posted on YouTube. Now, I can't promise anything, but I hope to be more active on here for now on, or at least for the next upcoming year, fingers crossed. Anyway, though, so since it's January, I thought it'd be fun to start with the book calendar tag. I feel like it's appropriate because January is when you're looking forward to the new year, new goals, all this different stuff. And creating more YouTube videos is one of my goals. So a video to celebrate 2023 seemed appropriate. Also, I had a fun idea for this. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I can appropriately answer these questions because they're for each month. And I'm in January. Well, this says I'm still in 2022. Shh, we won't talk about it. But I don't think I can appropriately answer these questions. So I thought it would be a good idea to get Laura from each month to answer these questions. So let's start with January. Welcome to the future, or in this case, 2023. Anyway, though, January, the New Year's. Name a new release coming out this year that you were greatly anticipating. The first one is the greatly anticipated sequel to Boom 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 by Ian Kirkpatrick, and that is Boom Shakalaka. Ian is so awesome. She invited me to go with her to the Florida Writers Association award ceremony, so I got to do that awesome experience with her. And her book won the best unpublished satire. Now, it was published by the time she got the award, but it was unpublished when she entered it. So the sequel to this is one of the ones I'm looking forward to. And then the other books I'm looking forward to, there's 3 more, so bear with me, is the third book in the Bleed More, Body More trilogy, also by Ian Kirkpatrick. So first book is Bleed More, Body More, second one is Plead More, Body More, and then the third one will be Grieve More, Body More, and I am looking forward to that. Ian is awesome, and you should check her channel out because she is awesome, and her channel has to be the most community-oriented and altruistic author tube channel I've ever seen. She shares so much love with her community and supports the indie community so much. I highly recommend you check it out. So the next book I am looking forward to is, oh no, wait, there's 2 more. Oh my gosh, there's 2 books coming out in this series next year, actually. And so those books are the sequels to The Wolves Beneath Paris, Wandering Wolves Book 1 by Liv Miles. Liv is also my friend. I highly recommend you check out her channel. She makes writing vlogs, and I've been wanting to do more writing vlogs recently because I think it'd be a good balance in making more scripted videos and then doing vlog videos because then I can make content more quickly. But anyway, so this is her book. She is a paranormal romance author. So if you're into that, I definitely recommend you check it out. I have not really read paranormal romance, so I'm really excited to read this. I'm hoping to read it before Valentine's Day to get my input on it. So I'm really excited to read it. So book 2 in the Wandering Wolves trilogy will be The Wolf Prince Harem. And then I was holding up 1, it should be 2. Book 3 will be Claiming the Wolf Prince. Those are the 2 other books one of my friends are writing this year, so very excited about that. And then finally, the last book it's not a sequel, but it's the start of a series, so I'm just going to hold up another book by the same author, and that is Adventurer Mage by Julian Greystoke. So this is her book that came out this past year, Boots, and I thought I would show you so you have an idea of what she is, and I recommend you check out her channel. She does read-alongs. But I really enjoy her channel, and I definitely recommend you check it out. This is her 3rd published book, and so the one coming out will be her 4th. Oh, but the fun thing about Adventure Mage is I've actually already read it as a beta reader, and I genuinely really enjoyed it. I find Julian's writing to kind of remind me of the fantasies I grew up reading, and they're very nostalgic and fun for me, and I definitely recommend you check them out if you like kind of the cozy fantasy vibe, because her books give me that vibe. Anyway, next month, February, leap year. Yes, I know my outfit is much more Valentine's Day. I got hearts, I got pink, I got more hearts and more pink, so much pink. But I don't have any frog related clothes, and I wanted to wear pink, so I'm wearing a Valentine's Day outfit, even though the question is leap year related. I digress. Anyway, name a book or series that you would like to skip or refuse to read. So that book would be the sequel or any sequels to Light Lark by Alex Asters. So I read this book in a book club that no longer exists. However, this book was really bad. So the characters all felt flat and like non-real people. They weren't fleshed out very well. They all had just plot devices. There was no plot though. So even though the characters felt like plot devices, there was no plot whatsoever. And it was just a chaotic mess. The world didn't feel real at all. I couldn't get lost in it. It felt like a vague idea and not even a consistent idea, just more of like whatever was thrown into it, whatever the author thought would be cool for whatever scene. And the only thing the author really seemed interested in was hyping up her self-insert character and the thirst. So, yeah. And also, I don't want to blame BookTok because a lot of people who read the book from BookTok don't like it either. But this book was published because the concept of it was made popular on BookTok. But yeah, so the sequels to this, not interested. It would be a waste of my time unless it's for views or to discuss with friends, which it was for the first time. But yeah, I digress. So next question. March, St. Patrick's Day. Favorite book set in the countryside or a rural area? So for this, I'm not just going to go with my favorite book that happens to be in the countryside. I'm going with a book that I love the descriptions of the setting of the countryside. It's so beautiful and it makes me want to live there or live somewhere similar to there. And that would be Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. So this book takes place in the countryside in Canada. I don't know exactly where, but it's beautiful. The description of the flowers and the environment and nature is so beautiful. Even the description of some of the home and what it's like to live there, it is so beautiful and cozy, and it makes me want to live there. I also want Anne to be my daughter, and I want to be like the teacher because she takes her kids out to do outside walks and go in nature, which is something that also goes with the countryside because you couldn't do that in a school in the city. And she also does creative writing with the kids, which is awesome, except she says it needs to be realistic and no fantasy, which is lame, but I want to be her besides that part. But yeah, it's just so beautiful and amazing. If you want to read a book that is a setting that's just stunning, I recommend this. I want to read the rest of the series. I've only read this one. I actually have a live stream. It's my only live stream on my channel that I did with Vanessa Marie Creates. And she's not really active as much on YouTube, but she is active on Instagram. And I highly recommend you check out that live stream because we both read it and it was such a sweet book. I definitely would love to reread it and maybe do a video discussing it, but the live stream honestly covers my thoughts so well. And now I kind of want to reread this. I'm very fond of this book. So yeah, this is not only like my favorite, this is the best countryside setting in any book. I also like the book, but specifically for the countryside setting, this book is so good. It's really great. You want to be there. Anyway, next question. April Fools. Name a book that you thought was going in one direction, but then ended up going in a completely different one. So right now, I can't think of an entire book that went in a completely different direction than I expected, but I can think of a book that had a twist that I did not expect. I'm gonna go with that for right now. So that book would be A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. So this series has a lot of different twists in it, and most of them didn't necessarily get me, but there was one in this book that really got me, and I really enjoyed this book, so I recommend it. But yeah, it definitely went in a way, or it had a twist that I did not expect. And also this series, I feel like improved and matured as it went on, which I didn't necessarily expect. So I enjoyed that, even though I think most of the readers did not like the change in direction. I did, so A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. Actually, the last book did go in the direction I did not expect. And then this book had consequences I didn't expect. So actually, there was a fair amount in this series that I did not expect. There was a twist in this specific book I didn't expect, but then the end of the second book, and then the direction of this book, and then the consequences, and the continued direction of the fourth book. Actually, yeah, so the actual series did go in directions I didn't expect. I did not expect to realize that this series went in a way that I did not expect. Next month. May, Mother's Day. You might be like, why'd you pick this? But see, there's a mommy elephant and a baby elephant, and my mom got me this shirt, and she got me this flower and this earring along with my dad from Hawaii. I'm sure she picked it out, but I digress. Maybe he picked it out. He's picked out some nice stuff for me. I digress. Anyway, Mother's Day. Name a book that is always there for you, that you love, and that lightens the mood when you're feeling down. So this is probably going to be my most cliche answer so far and for the entire video. But that book has to be Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. So I don't necessarily reread books a lot. I've reread The Hunger Games. And I want to reread Harry Potter and a lot of the books I loved as a kid because it's been so long. However, that's not usually what I do. However, the thing about Harry Potter is that it's extremely popular. There's entire Instagrams dedicated to Harry Potter fandom. There's YouTubers and YouTube shorts. And honestly, there was a bit when I first started BookTube where I kind of got annoyed with how much everyone talked about Harry Potter. But now no one talks about it as much. But while every video I don't want to be talking about it, the shorts and the Instagram shorts and YouTube shorts where it's like a short snippet of it, I think it's really funny. And also the thing about Harry Potter is it's one of the only books, or it is the only book, or one of them, that my family read together. Besides my little sister, I read the entire series, my older sister read the entire series, my mom read the entire series, and my dad read the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And it said he didn't need to read the rest because he already watched the movies, but now he's considering reading the first ones because he never read them. I digress. So I think reading these books and then watching the movies as a family really makes it feel special. And then also the being able to have so much access to people discussing the movies and books, and like the books versus movie stuff, because the books are better. No offense to people who like the movies, but the books are always better. It's a fact. Except maybe like The Devil Wears Prada, but I haven't read that book. Whatever. I'm going on a tangent. Anyway, though, so I think there being such a community around it and being able to access people talking about it and growing up with the books makes them feel more special and lightening in the mood in that way. And also, like, even when I went to Halloween Horror Nights this past September with my boyfriend, there was a part where we could go to Diagon Alley during it, and I was so excited. I'd never been to Diagon Alley before, and I was so excited. Like, I was probably obnoxious how excited I was. It was so cool. And we spent one of the whole nights was just dedicated to Diagon Alley. It was so cool. I was really enjoying it. But yeah, so Harry Potter is probably the most accurate answer I can give for this, even though it's cliche. It's fine. I'm only answering one question with it, unlike some booktubers who used to just say Harry Potter for everything and then also ask authors to compare their books to Harry Potter, which was annoying, but I digress. Anyway, next question. June, summer solstice. Name a book that felt like it took forever to get through. So For that, I am going with another book club book, and that would be Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. So this book is a good book. I liked it. I think it's really well done. But as you can see, I was taking so long to get through it, I gave up annotating partway through because I was translating everything in it, and I was like hardcore annotating. Like, I didn't just use sticky notes. Let me find a good page with like a lot of stuff, but like I was writing on the book. Ew, very intellectual things I was writing, I might add. But yeah, I was writing on it, I was translating things, I was underlining passages. My book is very written in. People who don't like it when people mark up books are gonna hate this book. But like, this is a common book. This isn't any special edition. It's a very common edition, so I don't feel bad. Like, maybe if it was like a really special edition, I wouldn't want to. But it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, even though this book isn't really that long, it's very dense. It's 317 pages, so it's not very long, but it's very dense. There's not a lot of like breaking up of the pages. So yeah, except that one little tiny section. But yeah, so it's very dense. There's different languages, and I felt the need to translate it, and I was also annotating in it. So yeah, it felt like it took forever to get through. Hence why I gave up annotating partway through. I actually marked when I gave up annotating too. I like put in a couple sticky notes after, but not near as much, and I wasn't writing in it at all at that point. So I plan on going through that part again because I liked it, but I had the time limit, so I was like, you know what, I'm taking too long. So this one definitely fits the question. So next month, July, name a strong independent character who inspired you, or in this case me. Anyway though, so originally I picked this answer based on a character I really like and felt connected with. And then I was like, wait, they're not conventionally strong or independent. But I sat and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I actually think this character exemplifies strength and independence, but in a less appreciated way that most modern fiction really focuses on. Because I do feel like there's a focus on physical strength and being able to go out on your own, do everything by yourself without help from anyone ever. And I think while those characters have value, because I think a variety of characters have value, but I don't think they exclusively are the only strong and independent characters. And I think the focus on them is, I don't know, I don't think they're the most interesting characters in every situation. And I think community and working with others is a very important thing that needs to be recognized, and all strength isn't physical strength. So for this answer, I'm going with Annie from The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. So she goes by Annie or Izzy. Her full name and title is, though, Anadori Kiladra Taliana Isili, Crown Princess of Kildenry. Thank you very much. Anyway, though, so the thing about this protagonist is the book starts with her mother sending her away to be married to a prince of a foreign land, despite her being the oldest, because her mother believes she doesn't have the strength to be a ruler, so instead she'll be the wife of a ruler. And so on the way there, she's heartbroken, she's devastated, but growing up, she's always been more interested in hanging out with swans and animals and kind of doing her own thing. She's never been much of a leader. However, on the way there, her lady servant and the men betray her, and the lady servant impersonates her, and then the men go as her guard, and Annie ends up going under the name Izzy and becoming the goose girl of the palace. And there she meets servants, and she ends up falling in love, and there's a whole story behind it. And I remember growing up reading the story, I literally at one point after reading the book was like, my sister was telling me to clean something. I was like, I don't want to clean something. This was in my head. I don't want to clean something. My day's been so hard. I got my titles stolen and someone's impersonating me, and then my poor horse. I was like, wait a second. That was in the book. That was her. That didn't happen to me. What is wrong with me? But I think what makes this character such a strong and independent person is that she starts off not being a ruler, not being strong or independent. And in her independence and her strength isn't that she physically beats everyone up and that she does everything on her own, but she learns to be her own person and create her own community and become a leader. So she's not independent in that she doesn't need anyone, but she learns to live on her own without being taken care of. And because of that, she becomes someone who is a good leader and deserves to lead. Whereas in reality, at the beginning, her mom was right. She wasn't fit to be a queen. But by the end, she is. And she becomes strong, but not in a physical strength way, but in the bond she creates and in her like internal growth. She's internally strong. And so I think that she is actually a really inspiring character, and she exemplifies strength and independence that is less, she exemplifies strength especially that is less appreciated nowadays in most stories. And she does have to go out on her own, which is independent, even if when she goes out on her own, she ends up making friends who helps her. I don't think being able to be independent means that you should be isolated and refuse help and refuse to have community. And I think this book gives a very healthy and nuanced example of this, because not everyone's just go punch their way through problems and go off and never have any friends and do their own thing and not need no one. So yeah, Annie from The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale. I love this book. It's really good. Highly recommend. I've really liked all the books except the one I said I'm not continuing. Every other book, recommend. August, no holidays. So first of all, I'm sure there are holidays in August. If you could create a holiday that in some way concerned books, what would it be? So thing is, it probably already exists. So there's so many holidays that no one celebrates that already exist. For example, for some of the bookish ones, there is National Writing Day, National Authors Day, National Library Day, National Read Across America Day, which is also Dr. Seuss Day, and there's so many more. Because of this, I don't really necessarily want to create a new one as much as have one where all the libraries and bookstores across America have an event celebrating reading and writing, maybe something where everyone can get together and there's different speakers at each location. I think that would be so fun. There could be a party, people could talk with each other. People could maybe like have opportunities to try to set up local book clubs. They could set up local writing groups, kind of just like a way to a meet and greet at all these locations with snacks, celebrating the love of reading and writing. So yeah, that's what I think. I don't think necessarily that we need a new holiday as much as to actually celebrate the ones we have. Next question. September, 9/11 Remembrance Day. So when I first read this question, I thought it was kind of morbid for a book tag. However, I think it amplifies something important about reading, or it gives me opportunity to bring something up. And that is, books aren't necessarily always meant to just be fun. Now, enjoying a book and having a fun, good time is a perk, but literature has so many possibilities. It has, especially for empathy, has the ability to help readers empathize with other people in other situations. Authors must empathize with their characters and the situations that people go through, and then readers learn to empathize with the authors, though it's not always self-insert, hence the authors empathizing with the characters. But there's so much opportunity for empathy and learning and experiencing situations you'll never go through a lens that isn't yours, that I think that's important and something worthwhile. The question was, what is a book that had a huge impact on you that you will always remember? So I think a book that really exemplifies that is All Quiet on the Western Front by Enrique Maria Remarque. Sorry if I mispronounced his name, it's German. But I think this book was a turning point in my reading experience. I read it my senior year of high school, and I did a presentation on this book. And the presentation was the portrayal of PTSD within the book. So I researched PTSD and different symptoms and different things people go through. And then I went through the book and I found different examples of it. And through this experience, I learned about empathizing in books, and that not every book is meant to just be fun. sometimes they're meant to help you learn. I think this book really did that for me. I think a really foolproof way in which I realized this was not to compare the books, but I read The Hunger Games before I ever read this book when I was like early middle school, late middle school, early high school. I don't remember which, but I didn't like it, especially Mockingjay, which is most people's least favorite because it's very depressing and it's just Katniss being depressed and having PTSD. However, my senior year of high school, right after reading this book and doing the presentation, and I really liked this book, I recommend it, I ended up rereading The Hunger Games, and the whole series, I really learned to appreciate the books more and what the author was trying to do. And in fact, Mockingjay is now my favorite of the books because of that. And I really respect the portrayal she did of PTSD in it. Not to say that it's on par with this book, but you know what I mean. I think this book allowed me to learn to appreciate literature for more reasons than it was a fun book. So, next month. October, Halloween. What is your favorite mystery or horror book? So, I haven't really been reading mystery or horror recently, but I'm going to do a bit of a cheat and do a favorite author. And so that author would be Mary Downing Hahn, and she writes middle grade horror / ghost stories. So her books, generally, when I've read them at least growing up, were about a kid and they end up in an area and they slowly discover that there's a ghost there, and they have to learn the tragic past of the ghost in order to bring the spirits to peace or get rid of the bad ones if they're bad spirits. But I really love the somberness of it and the empathy towards the spirits. And I think ghosts are such a great opportunity for fiction because they're just humans who have died. And a lot of times there's tragedy that comes with them. And there's also mystery with how did they die? Why are they still here? What happened in their past? So I really like how she writes ghosts. And I enjoy it also because despite it being horror, it's not necessarily gory or constantly horrifying. And I feel like that it's really interesting and there's empathy for the ghost, and I really appreciate that. So next month, November, Thanksgiving. What series are you most thankful exists? So I'm thankful for a lot of series, but I have to go with the one that got me into reading, and that would be the Warrior series by Erin Hunter. So this series is about cats that live in clans in the wilderness. There's 4 clans, and it's just so fun and enjoyable. And I got into this series because my sister was reading it, and I had 2 cousins who also read this series, and I really loved reading these books growing up. They're so fun and enjoyable, and I feel like they did get away with more because they were about cats instead of humans, because this is middle grade, but it's more violent than some other middle grade I've read. However, I don't think it's like crazy inappropriate for middle schoolers. It's not like, oh, that should not have been allowed, but it definitely got away with some. However, I really enjoyed this growing up. It got me into reading. I actually tried to start Harry Potter first and I couldn't get into it. But this series, because I don't think the first chapters were that exciting to me as a kid. But this series, it gets right into it, and I really enjoy it. So I'm so grateful to this series because it is what instilled my love of reading into me. Next month. December, Christmas. If you could recommend the viewers a book as a gift, what would it be? Well, I discussed a lot of different books I liked in this video. So pretty much you can't go wrong with any of these. You can't go wrong with any of these books. So I highly recommend that if you want to get a book for Christmas, check out one of these books that I mentioned in the video because they're all pretty good. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know all your thoughts down below. What do you think of my answers? Do any of these books sound like ones you would want to pick up? Do you like any of the books I mentioned? Also, if you want to do this tag on your channel or in my comment section, you definitely should. I would love to read or watch it. Please tell me all your thoughts down below. Again, shout out to the BookTube girl for creating this tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.